Can you ever say that an NFL game in Week 3 is a must-win? History says you can, as in the last decade only 3% of teams that started the season 0-3 made the playoffs. The New Orleans Saints come into Sunday's Week 3 game at the Carolina Panthers 0-2, so history is already against New Orleans, as only about 10% of teams starting the season 0-2 rebound to make the playoffs. The Saints are already in a big hole in the NFC Central, as the Panthers, Falcons, and Bucs are all unbeaten. The Panthers opened as 6-point favorites for their Week 3 home game against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints come into this game 0-2, and they are coming off an ugly home loss to the New England Patriots, as they were beaten 36-20. New Orleans was not competitive in Week 1 either, as they lost by 10 points to the Minnesota Vikings in a game that was not as close as the final 10-point margin suggests. The Saints have simply been awful in the month of September, going back to 2014, as they have gone 1-11. The magic for head coach Sean Payton is long gone, and he simply doesn't look like a coach who can win in New Orleans any longer. Turning things around for the Saints won't be easy, as they are 1-4 in their last 5 games at Carolina. If New Orleans is going to win, they have to find an identity on offense, and their defense has to play way better. The Saints have given up over 500 yards in each of the last 5 games. They made Sam Bradford look like a great quarterback in Week 1, and last week Tom Brady carved them up for 447 yards and 3 touchdowns. New England had 29 first downs in the win. The Carolina Panthers come into this game at 2-0, but they did not look very good on offense last week in a 9-3 win at Buffalo. Cam Newton overthrew a number of open receivers against the Bills, and Carolina lost tight end Greg Olsen to a broken foot. He is out for at least the next 6 to 8 weeks. Newton threw for just 228 yards with no touchdowns last week. The team also struggled to run the ball, as Jonathan Stewart had just 40 yards and rookie Christian McCaffrey had just 10 yards. The offense should have more success this week against a weak New Orleans defense. Carolina's defense has been excellent so far this season, as they rank first in the NFL, allowing just 3 points per game. They held Buffalo to 69 net rushing yards last season. Carolina has 2 of the top linebackers in the league in Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. We still don't know how good the secondary is for the Panthers, as the Panthers have faced San Francisco and Buffalo the last 2 weeks, who are both poor offensively. Defensive end Julius Peppers said that this year's Carolina defense is the best defense he has ever played on. The last team to hold opponents without a touchdown in the first 2 games of the season was the 2010 Baltimore Ravens, and that defense went on to finish just 10th in the NFL in total defense that season. Taking a look at some betting statistics, the Panthers have won 7 of the last 10 games in this series, but they're just 4-5-1 against the spread, with 4 of the last 5 games going over the total. The Panthers have won 6 of the last 10 at home in this series, and they are 5-4-1 against the spread in those games, with 3 of the last 4 going under the total. The Carolina Panthers have benefited from playing the 49ers and Bills the last 2 weeks. You would think the Saints are a step up in competition from those 2 teams, so this week should be very telling. This is a must-win game for the Saints, and we expect them to play with desperation. That, coupled with last week's 9-point total against the Bills by the Carolina Panthers, doesn't inspire offensive confidence, so we'll take the points with New Orleans on Sunday. Our pick and prediction is for the New Orleans Saints at +6.